The starship Endeavour drifted through the dark reaches of the Zarkon Expanse, a region of space so remote that most star charts simply ignored it. Its mission was simple yet dangerous: map unexplored planets, collect data on unknown ecosystems, and report any signs of intelligent life back to the Galactic Council. The crew consisted of scientists, engineers and explorers, all highly trained, yet none had ever faced the dangers that lurked beyond the mapped stars. Captain Mara Voss stood on the bridge, her eyes scanning the display screens. The stars outside the viewports twinkled coldly, their light traveling for decades to reach the ship. "Sensors are stable," she said calmly, though tension tightened her shoulders. "No major anomalies detected in the last 12 hours. Keep monitoring." Lieutenant Aaron Kesh, the ship's communications officer, tapped at a console. "Captain, I'm picking up a faint signal," he said, his brow furrowed. The tone in his voice was not one of curiosity but concern. The signal was weak, irregular, and layered with interference. "It's distress. Someone out there is calling for help." Mara's expression hardened. "Patch it through. Let's hear who's in trouble." The bridge quieted as the garbled signal came to life. A voice, trembling but urgent, filled the cabin. "This is the research vessel Orpheus. We've been attacked. Systems failing. Request immediate assistance." Mara's heart quickened. "Location?" she asked. The voice gave coordinates deep within the uncharted sector, barely within the reach of human navigation systems. The transmission ended abruptly, leaving only static. Aaron frowned. They didn't give much time. Whatever attacked them, it was fast. And lethal, Mara nodded. She had faced emergencies before, but this was different. The Endeavour was far from any known human fleet, and the Zarkon Expanse was notorious for its unknown dangers. Still, leaving a fellow human ship in distress was not an option. "Prepare the jump drive," she ordered. "We're going to help them even if it's risky." Meanwhile, aboard the Orpheus, the crew scrambled through darkened corridors. Explosions had torn through sections of the ship, leaving fires and sparks in their wake. Captain Lyra Thorne barked orders, trying to keep the crew organized. "Engine room, report," she demanded. "Engines failing, Captain," came the voice of the chief engineer. "We've lost half the power conduits. If we can't stabilize the core, we'll be drifting into the void." Lyra gritted her teeth. "Send an SOS now." The distress signal was a desperate plea. "Humanity to any available fleet. We are under attack. Coordinates Zarkon Expanse. Immediate help required." That SOS did not reach any human fleet. Instead, it traveled farther than anyone could anticipate. Across 1,000 light-years aboard a massive Deathworlder warship, the signal flickered on their sensors. The Deathworlders were a legendary alien species, feared across galaxies for their strategic brilliance and merciless warfare. They had been monitoring human expansion quietly, curious but dismissive. Humans were primitive, they thought, too small a species to warrant attention. But the SOS changed everything. The message was raw, desperate, but clear. A species in trouble calling for help. The Deathworlder commanders analyzed it carefully. The humans sounded weak, but the structure of their communication, the urgency, the logic, the command discipline, caught their attention. It was unusual for such a primitive race to organize so efficiently under extreme pressure. Admiral Jarek, the lead commander aboard the Deathworlder flagship Krythos, leaned forward. His multifaceted eyes reflected the holographic map of the Zarkon Expanse. "This is no ordinary distress," he said in a low, resonant voice. "The humans are organized. They think clearly even when under threat. I want the total Annihilation fleet ready. We cannot risk underestimating them." His second-in-command, a smaller but equally lethal-looking figure named Thrix, tilted his head. "Admiral, are you suggesting preemptive action?" Jarek's response was precise. "Not preemptive. Protective. If they survive, they may grow strong enough to challenge us. If they do not, we eliminate the unknown before it becomes a threat." Back on the Endeavour, the crew had traced the Orpheus signal to its source. Captain Mara Voss studied the readings carefully. "It's a rough projection," she said, "but it's the best we have. Coordinates are within the Expanse, about 30 light hours from our current position." The navigation officer, Ensign Lara, frowned. "Captain, we can get there, but it will be dangerous. Sensors show a dense asteroid field and unusual energy fluctuations near the signal. Could be remnants of previous battles or natural anomalies." Mara's jaw tightened. "We've faced worse. Plot a course. Prepare defensive shields and emergency repairs. Everyone stay alert. We don't know what we're flying into. As the Endeavour moved cautiously toward the SOS, tension among the crew mounted. Engineers checked every system twice. Scientists recalibrated sensors. Even the cafeteria staff stood ready, knowing that if the worst came, everyone aboard would have a role to play. Mara moved through the ship, her presence calm but authoritative. She stopped by the communications deck. Lieutenant Kesh, keep monitoring the SOS. Any change in their signal, even a flicker, I want it reported immediately. Yes, Captain, Arun replied, his fingers dancing over the console. Static buzzed in the background, but he remained focused. Hours passed as the Endeavour crept through the asteroid field. Then suddenly the ship shuddered violently. Impact on the starboard hull, shouted Ensign Lyra. Small debris, but enough to damage external sensors. Mara's eyes narrowed. Shields up. Evasive maneuvers. Steady the course. We're almost there. In the distance, faint lights flickered in the darkness. Mara squinted at the main viewports. There, she said softly. That has to be the Orpheus. The ship came into view. It was battered, torn in places, with smoke rising from several sections. Rescue pods floated nearby, some damaged, some empty. The sight struck the crew hard. This was worse than any simulation or training exercise. They were about to confront the consequences of a brutal attack firsthand. Mara's voice was steady, though her mind raced. Prepare docking teams. We are going in. Full caution. Keep shields raised and ready for anything. Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, aboard the Deathworlder fleet, Admiral Jarek's ships jumped into the expanse. Massive warships emerged from hyperspace, their hulls gleaming with lethal energy arrays. Swarms of smaller drones surrounded the flagship, ready to scan and destroy any life forms that could resist. Jarek's multi-layered mind calculated probabilities at lightning speed. Humanity was unpredictable, dangerous in ways most species underestimated, and so the stage was set. On one side, humans who had faced hardship, fear, and the unknown but refused to surrender. On the other, a legendary alien species, confident in their power yet starting to recognize that humans might be more than they appeared. The first chapter of the encounter was about to unfold. In the silent, cold expanse of uncharted space, the faint SOS that had been sent in desperation had already begun to ripple across the stars, drawing attention from a force the humans could scarcely imagine, and setting the stage for a confrontation that would test ingenuity, courage, and the very limits of survival. Captain Mara Voss took a deep breath as she looked at the flickering lights of the Orpheus. Hold together, everyone, she whispered. We're coming. You're not alone. The crew braced themselves. The universe was watching. Far beyond the reach of human eyes in the cold void of space, the Deathworlder flagship Krathos pulsed with life. Its hull shimmered with reflective metal and layered armor, built to withstand battles that would obliterate entire planets. Within its core, Admiral Jarek and his council convened, their multifaceted eyes scanning holographic displays of star systems' energy readings and the small but stubborn human presence in the Zarkon expanse. The humans survived longer than expected, Jarek said, his voice low but resonant, echoing through the command chamber. Their ship emitted bursts of power inconsistent with typical emergency distress signals. They are calculating, learning, and responding. We cannot approach this lightly. Thrix, the second in command, tilted his head in thought. Admiral, they are weak. Their weapons are primitive, their ship small. Yet they resisted our probe drones. We could have eliminated them easily, but they adapted. Jarek's eyes gleamed with the reflection of star maps. That is exactly why we must prepare the total Annihilation fleet. The humans may be small, but they show intelligence, unpredictability, and coordination. We will overwhelm them before they can learn more. Orders flashed across the Krathos, reaching every Deathworlder command ship in the fleet. Massive warships awakened from stasis, their engines humming with deadly energy. Drones stirred in their launch bays, small yet numerous, designed to swarm and disassemble any target. Weapon platforms rotated to optimal firing positions. The Deathworlders had fought countless species, but their calculations flagged these humans as unusual. They would act with complete efficiency, but efficiency alone would not guarantee success. Meanwhile, aboard the human ship Endeavour, Captain Mara Voss and her crew worked tirelessly to navigate toward the Orpheus. Every meter of space was a challenge. Energy fluctuations from nearby asteroid fields threatened their sensors, and pockets of radiation interfered with long-range communications. Mara moved from station to station, observing the crew with a mixture of pride and concern. "Engineering?" she called, entering the ship's engine room. Sparks flew from a damaged power conduit and smoke curled upward. Chief Engineer Lorne Herrick wiped soot from his face. "We're holding, Captain, but it's close. Some subsystems are offline. If we push the engines harder, we risk total failure." Mara nodded, her mind calculating options rapidly. "Do what you can. Keep shields at maximum efficiency. We can't afford to be caught defenseless." Across the human fleet, civilians trained to operate turrets and emergency systems moved quickly, showing remarkable calm under pressure. Even scientists and technicians adapted, proving that human versatility was not just a phrase, it was reality. Back in the Deathworlder fleet, Jarek's council debated strategy. "We must consider every possibility," one commander stated. "What if this species is more adaptable than we expect? Their persistence is unusual. Many species surrender after the first strike." Jarek's response was decisive. "We will not take chances. Every human ship, every system, every escape vector must be accounted for. The total Annihilation fleet will not leave survivors unless it is necessary. Our sensors will identify, our drones will overwhelm, and our weapons will destroy anything that resists." "This is not vengeance. It is caution," Thrix interjected. "Admiral, caution has never failed us before, but the humans, they are unpredictable. Their coordination seems almost instinctive." Jarek's multi-lens eyes narrowed. "Unpredictable or not, the calculation is simple. Survival for us, eradication for threats. Prepare the fleet for immediate jump. We will enter the Zarkon expanse at maximum efficiency. The humans will not see us coming." Within hours, the total Annihilation fleet was in motion. Dozens of massive warships cut through hyperspace, their energy fields shimmering like distant stars. Drone swarms followed, each capable of autonomous decision-making in battle. Planet-sized weapon platforms activated, their targeting systems calibrated to detect even the slightest energy signatures from human ships. On the Endeavor, Mara Voss sensed something changing in the energy readings of the expanse.
"Sensors are picking up anomalies," she said.
"Energy spikes, mass signatures. Something large is moving toward the Orpheus." Lieutenant Aaron Kesh adjusted the displays. "Unknown fleet, Captain. Massive, movement consistent with..." "Hyperspace jump," Mara's jaw tightened. "We're not alone. Prepare all systems for contact. Shields, weapons, navigation, everything." The human crew worked with a quiet determination. Engineers rerouted energy to critical systems. Scientists recalibrated long-range sensors, and officers took their posts at battle stations. Despite the imminent danger, morale remained surprisingly high. The human spirit, their ingenuity, and their willingness to face the unknown were all visible in every action. Every glance, every decision made aboard the ship. In the Deathworlder fleet, the first probes reached the human vessels. Small, fast drones zipped through space, scanning, analyzing, and mapping the ship's weak points. Yet every probe met resistance. Humans fired improvised energy bursts, forcing drones to retreat or be destroyed. The Deathworlder commanders studied this with a mixture of surprise and respect. The humans were clever, using what little they had to create significant obstacles. "Adaptation is faster than predicted," Thrix remarked. "They learn. They respond. They exploit weaknesses." Jarek's response was calm, measured. "Then we adjust. The total Annihilation fleet is not one ship. It is every ship, every weapon, every drone. If they are clever, we must be cleverer." Back on the Endeavor, Mara received fragmented signals from the Orpheus. They were brief, unclear, and full of static, but enough to provide a picture of the situation. The research vessel had been heavily damaged, with fires spreading through key areas and many escape pods destroyed. The crew's numbers were uncertain, but the urgency was clear. They needed help and humans were coming. "Plot a course for docking," Mara ordered. "We will take survivors aboard and stabilize their ship. Keep your focus. Every second counts." As the human ship approached the Orpheus, the first signs of the Deathworlder fleet appeared. In the distance, massive shapes glimmered against the void. Warships far larger than anything the human fleet had ever encountered moved with precision, their paths calculated to block any escape. Drones swarmed like clouds of living metal, scanning and preparing to strike. Mara did not panic. Instead, she studied their movement, noting patterns and timing. "They are organized," she said to her officers. "We need to stay one step ahead. Focus on maneuvering. Focus on shields. Focus on getting the survivors aboard. We will not be destroyed here. Not today." The Endeavor adjusted course, weaving through debris and energy fluctuations. Every turn, every engine adjustment, every shield recalibration counted. On the bridge, the crew moved with coordination, each member understanding the importance of their role. In the Deathworlder fleet, Admiral Jarek observed the humans' movements with intense scrutiny. "They are small, but they do not flee," he said. "They are clever. This species may be insignificant in numbers, but it is significant in mind. We must respect that. We will respect their unpredictability." With overwhelming force, every ship in the fleet adjusted, aligning into strategic positions. Energy weapons charged, targeting systems calibrated to track even rapid maneuvers. Drones synchronized their flight patterns, ready to adapt instantly. Every Deathworlder vessel acted with the precision of a single organism, yet all focused on the small but resilient humans. Meanwhile, aboard the Endeavor, Mara spotted escape pods drifting from the Orpheus. "Rescue teams, move now," she ordered. Teams of humans in shuttlecraft navigated the dangers, retrieving survivors and bringing them aboard. Every pod saved was a victory, yet every second brought them closer to the looming fleet. The crew's ingenuity was evident. Engineers used damaged human drones to create decoys diverting Deathworlder scanners. Scientists repurposed energy conduits to boost shields temporarily. Officers coordinated maneuvers that made the humans appear larger, more dispersed and harder to target. Each action was small but crucial, and together they created a web of survival. Admiral Jarek watched this with growing interest. They are more resourceful than anticipated. Every action has purpose. Every move is calculated. They are worthy of study, yet we will not underestimate them. Prepare the fleet. The total annihilation begins when they resist further. The stage was set. The humans were approaching the Orpheus, intent on saving their own and defending the helpless. The Deathworlders, unseen but fully aware, prepared for a force so vast it could erase the small vessels in moments. Both sides were calculating, adjusting and preparing. And so in the silent, dark expanse of uncharted space, the first threads of confrontation formed. The humans acted with courage, skill, and ingenuity, unaware that the SOS they sent had drawn the gaze of a species willing to unleash total annihilation. The universe was about to witness a clash of determination, intellect, and survival unlike any before. Captain Mara Voss gripped the edge of the bridge console, her eyes scanning the stars. "Everyone hold steady. We're almost there. Stay sharp. We are not just responding to a distress call. We are proving who we are. Humanity does not cower. Humanity does not surrender." And with that, the human crew pushed forward, ready to face the unknown, and whatever awaited them among the stars. The void of the Zarkon expanse had never seemed more oppressive. Darkness stretched endlessly, broken only by the faint glimmer of distant stars and the approaching shapes of alien warships. The humans aboard the Endeavor could feel it, an unspoken weight pressing on their nerves. Every crew member moved with a careful determination, knowing that the smallest mistake could cost lives. Captain Mara Voss stood on the bridge, her hands lightly resting on the edge of the command console. Her eyes scanned the distant fleet, massive silhouettes cutting across the void. "There," she said, pointing to the nearest shapes. "That's them. Stay calm. Analyze their movements and report every detail." Lieutenant Arun Kesh's fingers danced over the communications console. "Scanning. Multiple vessels, Captain. Large, heavily armed energy readings off the charts. Drone swarms are visible too. They're preparing to engage." Mara's jaw tightened. "Not if we can help it. Keep shields ready, and all defensive systems online. Full evasive maneuvers once we reach the Orpheus." The crew worked with quiet efficiency. Engineers rerouted power to shields and weapons. Scientists recalibrated sensors to detect hidden energy signatures, and officers prepared tactical displays. Even the civilians trained in emergency procedures moved with focused determination. Every individual on board understood the gravity of the situation. Suddenly, small, fast-moving objects appeared between the human ships and the damaged Orpheus. Deathworlder drones, sleek and metallic, swarmed like silver insects through the darkness. They scanned the Orpheus and the Endeavor, their sensors probing, analyzing, and searching for weaknesses. Visual confirmation, Aaron reported. Drones are scanning us. Shields are holding, but they're fast. Very fast, Mara nodded. We expected this. Target the nearest drones with pulse disruptors. Hit and retreat. We can't let them overwhelm us. The human crew activated improvised pulse weapons. Small beams of energy lanced out, striking several drones and causing them to spiral uncontrollably into the void. Others retreated only to circle back moments later. The humans' precision surprised even themselves. They were working in perfect unison, their movements instinctive and coordinated. On the Deathworlder flagship Krythos, Admiral Jarek observed the humans' resistance with keen interest. They are resilient, he said, a hint of admiration creeping into his tone. Their tactics are not random. They are learning in real time. Thrix, his second-in-command, tilted his head. Admiral, they are small, weak, yet they adapt. This is unusual. Most species break under pressure. These humans, they resist intelligently. Jarek's eyes glimmered. Intelligence is not weakness. Intelligence is potential. Prepare the main fleet. When they resist further, we will act decisively. But for now, observe. Meanwhile, aboard the Endeavor, Mara watched as her crew continued their daring approach to the Orpheus. Each second brought them closer to their goal, and closer to potential annihilation. Rescue shuttles launched from the Endeavor, moving quickly to retrieve survivors from escape pods floating around the damaged research vessel. Every shuttle carried a mixture of engineers, scientists, and civilians. In the corridors of the Orpheus, Captain Lyra Thorne guided her remaining crew to safety. Fires raged through the halls and emergency lights flickered under the strain of failing systems. Move, people! Follow the escape routes, she shouted. Every second counts. Outside, the first direct skirmish occurred. Deathworlder drones launched volleys of energy, attempting to disable the shuttles. Human pulse disruptors met them in return, creating flashes of light across the void. The drones were fast and deadly, but the humans' improvisation made them unpredictable targets. Shields at 60%, reported engineer Lorne Herrick from the Endeavor. If they hit again, we risk losing hull integrity. Mara's voice remained steady. Keep maneuvering. Focus fire on the drones closest to the shuttles. Protect the survivors at all costs. One by one, the rescue shuttles docked with the Endeavor, bringing aboard the battered crew of the Orpheus. Scientists, engineers, and civilians alike moved quickly to stabilize systems and tend to the injured. Every rescued person represented a victory, yet the looming Deathworlder fleet reminded them of the peril that still surrounded them. The Deathworlders adjusted their strategy. Massive warships moved into formation, their weapons charging. Energy readings spiked across the Endeavor's sensors. Drones circled like predators, and their calculated patterns revealed an intelligence that mirrored the humans' own adaptive strategies. Captain, they're coordinating, Aaron reported. Weapons are charging in unison. They're preparing a full strike. Mara's mind raced. Evasive maneuvers now. Divert all power to shields and engines. Keep the humans on the Orpheus safe. We've trained for this, but now it's real. The first volleys struck. Massive beams of energy tore through the darkness, some narrowly missing the human vessels. The Endeavor shuddered as shields absorbed impacts, while smaller drones were disintegrated by pulse disruptors. Sparks flew along the hull, but no system failed completely. On the bridge, the crew worked like a single organism. Engineers rerouted energy from non-essential systems to reinforce shields. Scientists monitored energy dispersion, predicting impacts and advising evasive maneuvers. Officers tracked drones, coordinating counterattacks. Every action was precise, efficient, and crucial. The humans' resilience and adaptability began to alter the Deathworlders' perception. Their defenses, unexpected, Thrix admitted. They survive against overwhelming odds. They are learning from each encounter. Jarek's response was calm but calculated. That is why the total Annihilation fleet exists. Observe, adapt, overwhelm. They are clever, but we are prepared. Even as the Deathworlders focused on overwhelming the humans themselves continued to innovate. Mara instructed her crew to use debris from destroyed drones as shields, redirecting energy beams and creating temporary barriers. Engineers modified energy pulses to disrupt multiple drones at once. Scientists found ways to amplify shield frequency, to resist energy bursts more effectively. For the first time, the humans were not merely reacting. They were shaping the battlefield, using ingenuity, courage, and teamwork to counter overwhelming odds. Outside, the battle raged. Energy beams lit up the void in flashes, shuttles darted through debris, and drones swirled in lethal patterns. Each side tested the other's limits. The humans' adaptive tactics slowed the Deathworlder advance, forcing the alien commanders to adjust their approach continually. Admiral Jarek observed all of it from the Krythos. They are unpredictable, yet coordinated. Every action has purpose. This species is more than we expected. Back on the Endeavor, Mara rallied her crew. "We are doing more than surviving," she said. "We are showing them who we are. Humanity does not surrender, and humanity does not falter in the face of danger. Every action you take now matters. Protect the survivors. Protect each other. Keep moving forward." Her words inspired the crew, giving them strength to continue despite fatigue, fear, and the looming threat of annihilation. Every shuttle returned with more survivors. Every improvised weapon strike disabled another drone, and every maneuver kept them just a step ahead of disaster. The first contact had been made, and the universe had witnessed it. Humans were clever, resourceful, and determined. Deathworlders were calculating, relentless, and deadly. Both sides learned from the encounter, and both understood that this was only the beginning. As Mara looked out at the distant alien fleet, she knew one thing with certainty. Survival was not just about shields and weapons, it was about courage, ingenuity, and the unwillingness to give in to fear. Humanity had arrived in the expanse, and no force, however powerful, would underestimate them again. The Endeavor and its crew had faced the first wave of a battle unlike any other. Drones were downed, survivors were rescued, and the Orpheus remained intact for now. But the Deathworlder fleet still loomed, and the humans had proven that they were not helpless prey. They were challengers, fighters, and thinkers capable of defying impossible odds. The void of the Zarkon expanse trembled with the first sparks of conflict. And for Captain Mara Voss and her crew, it was only the beginning. The Zarkon expanse had become a battlefield, yet Captain Mara Voss refused to let fear dictate her actions. On the bridge of the Endeavor, she studied the positions of the Deathworlder fleet carefully. Every massive warship, every swarming drone, every glowing energy weapon was a threat, but one that could be outsmarted. Humans had always relied on adaptability and ingenuity, and now was no different. Sensors show weak points in their drone formations, Lieutenant Aaron Kesh reported. If we can exploit them, we might reduce their numbers without engaging the main fleet directly. Mara nodded. "We do more than survive, we disrupt. Prepare the shuttle teams for infiltration. We're taking the fight to them before they can overwhelm us." Shuttle teams quickly assembled. Engineers and tactical officers volunteered for the mission, knowing it was dangerous but essential. Their target, a small cluster of Deathworlder warships controlling the drone swarms. By planting energy disruptors on these ships, the humans could create confusion among the drones, giving the Endeavor a chance to maneuver freely and protect the Orpheus. As the shuttles approached the alien vessels, Mara's voice came over the comms. "Remember, precision is key. Avoid detection if possible. If you are seen, retreat immediately. Your lives are just as important as this mission." The shuttles moved silently, weaving through energy fields and debris. For hours they hovered near the alien vessels, using every tool at their disposal to remain undetected. Small bursts of energy from human scanners revealed weak points in the warship's hulls, areas that could be targeted to create chain reactions in the ship's power conduits. Meanwhile, aboard the Endeavor, Mara and her crew continued to fend off the drones. Pulse disruptors fired at high speed, knocking several swarming drones into the void. Shields held, though some hull sections were scorched from near misses. Each action had to be precise. The Deathworlder fleet was vast, and one miscalculation could mean disaster. Inside the shuttle, engineer Sela Wren worked tirelessly to configure the disruptors. "We're ready to deploy," she whispered. "Just a few more adjustments and we can hit the first vessel." Lieutenant Jarrow, leading the shuttle squad, nodded.
"On my mark, now!"
The disruptors were launched, sticking to the alien warship's hull. Almost immediately, small explosions rippled through the conduits, causing the ship's energy flow to destabilize. Lights flickered across its hull and nearby drones scattered in confusion. Human ingenuity had made a tangible impact on the battlefield. Back on the Endeavor, Mara noticed the effects. "They're reacting." "The drones are disoriented. Keep pressure on, but do not overextend. We need to protect the shuttles." The shuttles moved quickly, planting additional disruptors on other vessels. Each success increased the humans' confidence, though danger remained at every turn. Deathworlder scouts detected the tampering and began countermeasures, but the humans had planned for this. Using calculated maneuvers and decoy signals, they avoided direct confrontation and continued their mission. On the Deathworlder flagship Krythos, Admiral Jarek observed the unfolding chaos with careful interest. The humans, they are clever. They attack without direct engagement, using minimal resources to maximize disruption. Adaptation is faster than we predicted. Thrix's eyes widened. Admiral, their actions are creating confusion among our drones. We risk losing coordination if they continue. Jarek remained calm, though his mind raced. Then adjust. Their ingenuity is evident, but they are still limited in numbers. We will respond decisively if necessary. For now, allow observation. Learn from them. Meanwhile, the shuttles returned to the Endeavor, bringing vital data on the Deathworlder ship's weak points. Mara analyzed the information with her tactical officers. We now know how to exploit their formations, she said. We can strike at their fleet indirectly. Every small action counts. Every innovation can shift the battle in our favor. The human crew immediately began implementing new strategies. Engineers modified pulse disruptors to target multiple drones at once. Scientists recalibrated shields to create temporary energy reflections, bouncing back some of the alien weapons. Officers coordinated maneuvers that forced the Deathworlder fleet to overextend, opening gaps that humans could exploit. As the battle continued, the Orpheus crew worked alongside the Endeavor, stabilizing their damaged systems and assisting with tactical operations. Injured crew members were treated quickly, and civilians trained in emergency procedures operated auxiliary systems. Despite exhaustion, morale remained high. Humans thrived under pressure, finding solutions where others might panic. The Deathworlders began to notice the humans' effectiveness. Their tactics, unexpected, admitted Commander Thrix. They are small, yet every action has purpose. They are adapting faster than most species we encounter. Admiral Jarek's multifaceted eyes narrowed. Adaptation is impressive, but not invincible. Prepare to engage if necessary. Observe, but be ready to overwhelm if they threaten critical systems. For now, the humans were ahead. Using ingenuity and teamwork, they turned the Deathworlder's numerical advantage into a manageable challenge. By exploiting weak points and creating confusion, the humans controlled the tempo of the conflict. Every energy pulse, every maneuver, and every improvised strategy brought them closer to survival, and perhaps even victory. Captain Mara moved among her crew, observing their work with quiet pride. This is what it means to be human, she said softly. Resourceful, brave, and determined. We are not just surviving, we are shaping our destiny. Remember that. Every choice you make matters. On the alien side, the Deathworlders' confidence began to shift. They are worthy of study, Jarek said. Their resilience, adaptability, and courage are remarkable. We expected prey. Instead, we face innovators. The human shuttle teams continued their daring maneuvers. Each successful infiltration of a Deathworlder vessel caused small explosions, forcing the drones into disarray. The fleet's once perfect coordination was disrupted, creating openings that the Endeavor and Orpheus could exploit. Back on the Endeavor, Mara coordinated counterattacks. Focus fire on the drones that are regrouping. Protect the shuttles and maintain shields. We hold our ground and we push forward. The battle raged for hours, energy beams lighting up the dark expanse. Every human action was precise, every move calculated. Yet there was room for improvisation, a key advantage against the rigidly disciplined Deathworlders. The Deathworlder commanders realized the humans' creativity was a threat unlike any other. They are unpredictable, admitted Thrix. Every action leads to a reaction we did not anticipate. Our calculations are insufficient. Jarek remained calm. Then learn. Observe, adapt, and act when necessary. But recognize this truth. Humans are dangerous because they think differently. They turn limitations into opportunities. That is why the fleet must be prepared to respond decisively. For the humans, the sense of achievement was tempered by the looming presence of the larger Deathworlder fleet. Each successful action bought them time, but they knew the battle was far from over. Still, the ingenuity displayed by the crew of the Endeavor and Orpheus reinforced a truth that humans had always carried. Courage and creativity could match even the most overwhelming force. Captain Mara, Boss took a deep breath and addressed her crew. We've shown them what humans can do. We've disrupted their plans, saved lives, and protected each other. But this is only the beginning. Stay vigilant. Keep thinking, keep acting. Humanity thrives when it adapts, and today we prove that again. The Zarkon Expanse was no longer just a place of darkness and danger. It had become a proving ground. Every pulse, every maneuver, every act of ingenuity demonstrated that humans were capable of more than mere survival. They were innovators, challengers, and fighters whose courage could alter the course of conflict. As the Endeavor and its crew prepared for the next stage of the battle, the Deathworlders observed from afar, beginning to reconsider their approach. The total Annihilation fleet had yet to act at full force, but the humans' ingenuity had already reshaped the battlefield. The first sparks of admiration had begun to flicker in the alien command. Humanity was not just surviving, they were teaching a lesson in courage, creativity, and persistence that even the galaxy's most fearsome species could not ignore. And in the quiet moments between energy pulses, Captain Mara Voss allowed herself a moment of resolve. We fight not because it is easy, she said softly. We fight because it is necessary. We fight because we are human, and no force in the galaxy will make us surrender. The human ingenuity had turned the tide of this part of the battle, but the war was far from over. The Deathworlders would regroup, adapt, and strike again. And when they did, the humans would be ready, armed not just with weapons and shields, but with intelligence, courage, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity. The dark void of the Zarkon Expanse was alive with tension. The battle had raged for hours, with humans and Deathworlders locked in a deadly game of strategy, ingenuity, and survival. Captain Mara Voss stood on the bridge of the Endeavor, her eyes scanning the distant alien fleet. The humans had faced overwhelming odds, yet they remained unbroken, each crew member contributing to their shared survival. Sensors show a reduction in drone efficiency, Lieutenant Aaron Kesh reported. They're disoriented after the disruptor strikes. Some of their ships have minor power fluctuations. It's working, Captain. Mara allowed herself a brief nod. Good, keep pressure on. Stay focused. Every second counts. Across the battlefield, the Deathworlder commanders analyzed the unfolding situation. Admiral Jarek's multifaceted eyes reflected the chaos caused by the humans' tactics. Their ingenuity is remarkable, he said slowly. They are small, yet their actions have disrupted formations and slowed the fleet. They are not prey. They are opponents. Thrix, second in command, tilted his head. Admiral, we have deployed the total Annihilation fleet. Their numbers are insignificant compared to ours, yet they continue to adapt. Every move is calculated, and they exploit weaknesses we did not anticipate. Jarek's response was calm but firm. Then we do not destroy. We observe. Let them continue to show their abilities. There is value in recognizing a species capable of such adaptability. If we annihilate them now, we lose the opportunity to learn. On the Endeavor, Mara knew the battle was far from over, but she could feel the momentum shifting. Human ingenuity had not only saved lives, it had disrupted a fleet far larger and more powerful than anything they had faced. Shuttle teams continued to target vulnerable sections of the alien warships, creating chain reactions and energy conduits. Pulse disruptors disabled swarms of drones, giving the humans time to maneuver freely. Captain, incoming energy readings, reported Ensign Lara. They are calibrating their weapons, but I'm seeing hesitation. The fleet is reorganizing, slowly. Mara smiled faintly. They've realized we're not simple prey. Continue to exploit the openings. Protect the Orpheus and every shuttle. Our goal is survival and disruption. Keep thinking, keep moving. Inside the shuttle team's engineers and officers worked with precision. They modified disruptors mid-flight, calculated timing for energy pulses, and coordinated maneuvers to confuse the Deathworlder fleet further. Every human action was small in scale but monumental in effect. On the Krythos, Jarek observed these actions with growing respect. They are learning faster than predicted. Each engagement shows courage, coordination, and the ability to adapt under pressure. This is rare. Thrix studied the displays in silence. Admiral, if we continue at full strength, we can still destroy them, but at what cost? Their tactics are teaching us something. They are worthy opponents, Jarek's voice was resolute. Then we withdraw. Not because we fear, but because we recognize. Humans are not a threat in this moment, but they are capable. We will leave them to continue, for now. Survival is theirs, observation is ours. Back on the Endeavor, Mara noticed a shift in the alien fleet. The once relentless swarms of drones slowed and some warships withdrew slightly from their aggressive positions. "They're pulling back," she said cautiously. "Not retreating yet, but repositioning. Keep shields ready and stay alert." Shuttle teams continued to return to the Endeavor, carrying survivors and vital data from the infiltrated Deathworlder ships. Every successful mission strengthened morale, and the crew felt a shared sense of pride. They had faced a force far superior in numbers and firepower, and they had survived through ingenuity, courage, and teamwork. The Orpheus crew, now stabilized aboard the Endeavor, assisted with repairs, tactical support, and resource management. Their combined efforts created a unified human presence, a testament to resilience and cooperation. As the hours passed, the Deathworlder fleet slowly withdrew, maintaining distance but remaining observable. Jarek addressed his commanders. "This species is extraordinary. They are clever, resourceful, and courageous. Our analysis shows they adapt under pressure, turning disadvantages into opportunities. This is a species to study, not destroy." Thrix inclined his head. "They fought with strategy, not just force. Their ingenuity is remarkable. Few species can achieve this under direct threat." Jarek's attention returned to the humans. "They fight with their minds and their courage. Remember this. Humanity is not just a minor race in the galaxy. They are potential challengers. We must recognize that." On the bridge of the Endeavor, Mara allowed herself a moment of reflection. The humans had faced one of the galaxy's most feared species and lived to see the outcome. "We've proven something important today," she said softly. "Not just to them, but to ourselves. Humanity fights, adapts, and survives. We do not surrender." Crew members exchanged quiet nods, each carrying the weight of their experiences but also the pride of survival. Engineers repaired critical systems, officers recalibrated sensors, and scientists recorded every observation for future missions. The Endeavor and its crew were battered but victorious, not just in battle but in spirit. As the Deathworlders moved away, Mara sent a new message. It was not a plea, not a surrender, but a statement of presence. Humanity is here. We fight, we survive, and we adapt. We are not to be underestimated. The signal traveled across the expanse, a declaration not of aggression but of resilience. The galaxy had witnessed the determination of a species that refused to be defeated, and other civilizations would soon learn that humans were not merely survivors. They were innovators, thinkers, and challengers. In the quiet that followed, the human crew tended to the wounded and repaired their ships. The Endeavor floated among the wreckage of destroyed drones and energy debris, a testament to human courage and resourcefulness. The Orpheus crew had regained stability, and together both ships prepared to continue their mission of exploration. Captain Mara Voss moved through the ship, observing her crew with pride. "You've all done more than survive," she said. "You've shown the galaxy that humans are more than numbers. We think, we adapt, and we fight with purpose. Remember this day? Remember how we stood together?" On the Deathworlder side, Admiral Jarek recorded the encounter for analysis. "This species is remarkable. They survive against odds no other species would endure. They adapt, innovate, and fight with unity. Recognition is due. Observation is critical. Humanity is no longer to be dismissed." As the Deathworlder fleet disappeared into the distance, the humans continued their work. The Endeavor and Orpheus repaired damage, shared knowledge, and prepared to explore the expanse further. The SOS that had once called for help had brought a near annihilation. And yet, from that danger, humanity had emerged stronger, wiser, and recognized. Captain Mara Voss stood on the bridge one final time, watching the stars stretch into infinity. "We survived because we adapted," she said softly. "We survived because we were brave. And we survived because we were human. Let every star we visit know this truth. Humans do not surrender. Humans do not falter. And humans endure." The Zarkon expanse, once a place of fear and mystery, had become a proving ground. Humanity had faced total annihilation, and had not only survived but had reshaped the perception of a galaxy-renowned species. The story of the Endeavor, the Orpheus, and their crew would travel through the stars, a lesson in courage, ingenuity, and unyielding spirit. The universe had witnessed humanity's arrival, not as victims, not as prey, but as challengers, innovators, and survivors. And as the Endeavor and its crew continued their journey, they carried with them a truth that no force, no matter how great, could ever erase. Humanity fights, humanity thinks, and humanity endures. The stars stretched endlessly before them, full of unknown worlds, untold dangers, and infinite possibilities. And Captain Maravos knew with every fiber of her being that humanity was ready for whatever lay ahead. The SOS had been answered. The lesson had been delivered, and humanity had proven itself to the galaxy.